Go on, right? No, yeah. And the time to take my phone.
Sorry.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Today is the 25th day of Tishrei, Arab Shabbos. Here we go again.
Page.
Okay.
Page 143.
Page 143 in the Chayim. Okay, so now here's something interesting. Epistle overview of Epistle 25. In defense of a misquoted teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe here sheds light on the concept of the divine clothing itself, even within klipos, evil. What does that mean? We'll soon see. Thus, even what appears to be direct opposition to godliness is also coming from God. How could it be? So we'll explain. In today's lesson, becoming angered, we discussed this earlier in Tanya, becoming angered is equivalent to idol worship. In that moment, one loses awareness of God's omnipotence and providence. You don't believe in Hashgacha Pratis. How could this happen? Then you get angry. But regardless of the intent of the perpetrator, the recipient was destined to receive that experience.
Loss of control.
Tough pill to swallow.
Angered, loss of control.
Loss of control.
And who's in control? Hashem.
Exactly. Well said. Coffee, Epistle 25. Lahavin Imrivino, Masha Kosa Sefer Nikra, Tzavas Rivash. To comprehend the words of understanding mean the words of Torah stated in the book of Tzavas Rivash, called Tzavas Rivash, the testament of the Baal Shem Tov. No, in fact, it's not at all his will or testament. He did not ordain anything before his passing. So it was a misinterpretation. Meaning the teachings of his books are merely gleanings of his pure sayings. His students, careful when you shake tape. His students would write down what he said and they put together a collection or compilation after compilation. The compilers did not know how to phrase his teachings exactly. Whatever they heard, they did the best they could. They wrote it down. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it wasn't, didn't work out perfectly the way they translated. The Baal Shem Tov is speaking Yiddish, and the teachings of the Tzavas Harivash are recorded in Hebrew. We often say that when we what?
You think they would have reviewed it with them?
You think even with the Rebbe Sichas, most of them are looked over.
Yeah.
But some of them weren't. And we're not saying that they're wrong. No. We're just saying it says clearly that these were not checked over. Could there be an error? Maybe. Hopefully not. In connotation, however, of the teaching, the connotation of the teaching is absolutely true. It could be, again, that some of the nuances. When we try to translate the learning into English, he might say this word means that, and I might say it means that. It's a different. Mm-hmm. It's not a different interpretation. It's a different translation, and sometimes it comes out a little bit differently. Said that already. Because the Alter Rebbe now begins to explain the Harivash. I'm sorry, Harivash. V'hu v'haktim maimer Rabbeinu Zechron kol hakoyes ki'ilu oived akum. This will be understood. Avedi kechavim amazalis. That's what it stands for. One who serves the stars and constellations. So this will be understood by first considering the teachings of our sages of blessed memory. Whoever is enraged resembles an idolater. As I mentioned before, this was mentioned earlier in the Tanya. People of understanding understand that if you're raging, you're thinking that, how could God do this? He's probably not involved in this. And then you get angry about it. Lefi, and obviously that's just on a low level. Lefi shebe'es ka'asai. At the time of his anger, faith in Hashem and Hashgacha Pratis left him. He doesn't trust that Hashem did this. Hashem cannot be involved in this. A person thinks to himself, if Hashem were involved in this, no, let me start over. If a person would stop for a moment and would truly be a believer in whatever Hashem does, that's Hashem doing it. Doesn't always look good. It doesn't always feel good. But if Hashem did it, then he wouldn't be angry at all. Okay. True. It's a person, if a person, it's the person himself who possesses free choice. That is cursing him or striking him or causing damage. The other person also, it's not, you could say it's not God that's doing this. It's somebody else who's doing this. And therefore the guilty according to the laws of man and laws of heaven for his evil choice. So what it means like this: the perpetrator, for his part, cannot plead innocence on the grounds that he's merely an instrument in the hands of thine providence. If I did something bad to you, chas v'shalom, I don't say, listen, Hashem runs the world. He decided that I'm going to say this to you or do this to you.
Free will.
Yeah. On the other hand, the other person can't say, where's God in this? It's not coming from God. It's coming from this person.
Ooh, good point. It's not.
It must be that I had to receive that embarrassment or whatever, right? Regardless, nevertheless, as regards to the person harmed, this incident was already decreed in heaven. Whether he had to harm you or he had to harm you or it had to happen some other way, this was going to happen to you. Hashem has many agents through which he can carry out whatever that is that had to happen to you. Hence, even if the offending party had chosen otherwise, the incident would have befallen the victim in any case. And not only this, even furthermore, that a heavenly decree gave permission in principle and made it possible that he suffer injury. Hello. So basically what it's saying is that everything that happens in the world is min hashamayim. Clearly, right? We kind of understand that concept. But why me? Why does it have to happen to me? And why through this person? So even at the very moment at which the offender strikes or curses him, there is vested in him, in the offender, a force from Hashem, and the breath of his mouth, Hashem's mouth, which animates and sustains him. As it's written, Hashem told him, curse. Now, where did he say to so and so? Where do we find written that Hashem told him to curse David, for example? Hello. Only this thought that occurred in I'm sorry, I messed up. Let's back up. Where did he say so to Shimi? To go and curse David? We have to look that up, what that means.
It says at the bottom.
What does it say?
Small days.
Right. No, I understand that, but I'm saying what's the back story?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It was Shimi, yeah. Where's Yoni? Is he here?
Exactly. I'm thinking the same thing.
He's not here, right? He left.
Yuda, look it up, or Yuda, if you know the story. Well, what happened? Shimi cursed out David.
Who's Shimi?
Right. I gotta get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
I always have this question every year. So what he's saying here is that the idea, the thought to go and curse David came from Hashem. Wild stuff. The breath of his mouth, Hashem's mouth, which animates all the hosts of heaven. The same Hashem that created the world put into Shimi's mind and mouth to go and curse David. So it's not his fault. That's what we're trying to say here. But no, it is. He still has free choice not to do it. If he wouldn't do it, somebody else would do it. But meanwhile, he's a vehicle of Hashem to carry it out. So when you do it, you have free choice. If you did it, you're the tool of Hashem. So the person who receives it shouldn't get upset. Hashem is doing this to you for a purpose and a meaning. This the breath of Hashem's mouth had departed from the spirit of Shimei for a single moment, he could not have spoken at all. And this is the meaning of the statement. Hashem told him at the very moment when Shimei was speaking these words, curse David, meaning God did so by providing Shimei at the time with life and the power of speech. So someone who curses you, someone who embarrasses you, Hashem gave him the ability to do that and get angry. Why did it happen? I don't know. Maybe we'll never find out. And who shall say to him, why did you do so? So it's a painful and complicated concept, right? Why? We're always asking why. Why did that have to happen to me? Why did it? So no bad befalls a person, not even verbal abuse, if Hashem doesn't allow it to, which means Hashem allowed it to. That person had to be yelled at, had to be embarrassed, whatever it is. Oh, my wife looked it up. Of its humility. This is amazing. Okay, thank you, Alti. We're looking it up right now.
Team of researchers.
Insult to injury. Okay. What happened? Yuda, you there? Yuda.
I'm here now, yeah.
But did you hear me or no?
Not for the last 2.5 minutes.
I was reading from Chabad.org. I was reading from Chabad.org that David HaMelech was going, and Shimei was from the family of King Shaul, and he was so angry and he was cursing and throwing stones at David HaMelech, and Avishai wanted to go and kill him. That's what he did to the king. But David said, don't do it. Basically, if that had to happen, Hashem decided it had to happen.
You saw what I sent you? You saw the WhatsApp I sent you?
No.
Yeah, it's on ChatGPT, the same thing, basically.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so it gives us better context to understand. Shimei ben Gera insulted and cursed King David during his time of distress. David's soldiers wanted to kill him, but David said, let him curse, for Hashem told him to. So that's the point. When someone does something, obviously it's hurtful and painful. Nobody wants that. But they're an agent from Hashem. I think this is just a very powerful lesson. And instead of getting angry, say, this Hashem wanted this to happen to me. Now, Tanya also explains earlier that if the person, the perpetrator, Hashem will Hashem will figure it out. Hashem will exact revenge at the right time or figure it out with that person, but that's not your business. Anyway, we should all overcome this tremendous test and challenge, and no one should embarrass anyone else. We should all come together in peace and love and harmony, and wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbos. Thank you. Thank you so much.